Hey, yo, what's going on? It's your boy KLA, Clive the Wanderer, featuring all the Rage George Page. And yeah, on the Sunday, we're doing this flashback, retrospect, retrospect of female bodybuilding. And yeah, they just me to want to do it because I would always see clips of female bodybuilders of the past. This YouTuber is I think their name is Vintage Amazon, and they show like old clips of body, like especially like in the 80s competing. I started paying attention to women's bodybuilding in the 90s, like 92, 93, but I never went further back. I think like maybe like women's physique world. I seen like pictures of old female bodybuilders and stuff like that. So yeah, but yeah, anyway, in this segment we're gonna talk about Pumping Iron 2 with I mean I talked about it in different ways, but old footages of when women bodybuilders was I would say accepted in the media, really. They were like in movies and stuff like that. Just like it was like a new trend, especially in the 80s. So I did this time travel to go back to the 80s. So George, you want to say something about it?
Well,
Well,
it was the height of the 80s
of the
was,
80s was.
wait a minute, you got some
You
reverb.
got some reverb.
Say that again.
Get your headphones on?
You hear me?
Because I'm hearing myself.
Yeah, I can hear you,
Yeah,
but
I can hear you, but I
too.
hear myself
Talking
too.
back.
I don't know. Hold on.
You might have putting
You might have
headphones.
playing headphones.
I don't have my headphones. It's not. I don't have headphones on my phone. I don't know.
No problem.
Wow.
Okay.
Hold on. I'll mute my phone. I'll mute.
Yeah, I think that helps a bit. So, the 80s I think, was the really beginning of the golden age for women's bodybuilding. It started out in the 70s where the women were in high heels. They're almost at the equivalent of figure, maybe a little bit more like bikini. If you look at it now, the look has evolved. Really, I think the women that stood up for the most of that period was, Rachel McLesh, who was the first Miss Olympia champion. Then there was Corey, who dominated throughout the 80s. You had Carlos Dunlap. You had Bev Francis, who came in, who was just a mass monster. She changed the look of it. Women like Gladys Portuguese and Angela Langer, Ellen Von Mars. Was a long list of women, and I can't forget Kay Baxter, who was probably, some people felt like she should have been Miss Olympia during her career, but they put it in the same arena as Bev, just really massive when they consider looking at women's bodybuilding was like it was then.
Yeah. I mean, I made a list of some female. It's funny because you mentioned Angela Langer, and yeah. So yeah, she was like she came in second in the 1988 Miss Olympia, and yeah. So she wrote a book. She's an author of books, and especially with female bodybuilding, and she retired and she became a personal trainer. So for those who don't know who we talking about, the lady in the black bikini is that's Angela Langer, and yeah, and I got a clip of her also. Check it out. Yeah, I mean, she had a nice physique, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got Rolando. Gene, what's going on, Rolando? Yo, I dropped the link if you want to come. So it's up to you. Going back to the 1980s, okay, what legends, okay. Then he also says, I believe the early to middle 1990s FBBs were at the pinnacle. I think especially when talk shows started having them on live TV, especially Jenny Jones, Ricky Lake era.
Well,
Yeah.
well, Ricky Lake, I don't think she ever had bodybuilding. It's usually it was
Nah, she
Jimmy
didn't. I
Jones,
remember.
Montel Williams, and I think most definitely Geraldo.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you were saying like, um, when we was talking before the live that not too many people really remembered like the '80s bodybuilders. Like, what's the difference between the '80s and the '90s? Because it seemed like I mean, people was kind of curious about it. I would say.
Well, the look switched. If you go back to when Corey last competed was '89. Then here comes Linda Murray '90. She took it to another direction, and then you have Bev Francis was still for the last 2 years of the '90s from 1991. You had Penny Riddow, who was coming from the good part of the '80s up into the '90s. Ladies like Sue Price, who I had a pleasure interviewing. Um, Also, Vicky Gates, Laura Creval. It was changing. If you go back to the '80s, a lot of those ladies were coming from when it first started, when you were wearing high heels. In the late '70s. How because if I said it like I said earlier, women's body was more like originally like figure. And the look changed, and you look at like Carla Dunlap. You look at Glass Portuguese, Lisa Lyons.
Okay, but George, you don't have to go to extend with the names. It's so I'm trying to focus on what I want to talk. But I appreciate it that what you're saying. But over the week I was watching Pumping Iron 2. I decided to look at that. So just in case, like well, you recommended that I looked at Pumping Iron 2. And yeah, like there many ways we always talked about Pumping Iron 2. But I don't know, we never really had like a live where we just talk about it, if it makes sense, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I see, I mean, for people that ain't familiar with it, Pumping Iron 2 is the women bodybuilders and the judges. They're more looking to their perspective on what femininity is. And they were like opposite sides during that time. I think the things that are happening now, they were talking about it, as you see with the other divisions, that even with the fit model, people kind of want that, they're looking for that look. And when I look at this movie, it kind of pertains to now. There were like other people that caught my attention. There was this other lady, this Clackinger. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but
Yeah, I remember her.
she's in a movie. There's a scene where she's moonwalking, and it's cool. Like I'll show a clip of her. So
Tina Plackinger. She was in 4th place after the compulsories, and she is on stage with a routine that is a bit different.
Well, she does one of the best renditions of the moonwalk I've ever seen. Her routine.
The crowd very much involved in Tina's routine, and Frank, I wonder how.
Yeah, so that was Tina Blackinger. I mean, yeah, I remember when I was watching it the first time, you know, I didn't really, I just wrote the names and stuff. But, you know, it's, you know, the movie, you know, it's basically about to a point where we're at now, you know, with all these divisions. Because, you know, somewhere down the line, you know, people didn't really think it was appropriate for women to look all bulky and stuff like that, or they had the glass face jaw, and you know, and people was afraid that, you know, they didn't want the women to look like men. You know, I remember in the scene of Pumping Iron 2, there was this woman judge, and she was very disgusted looking at Bev Francis. Like, even when she was posing, Francis was posing, like, this lady judge is like shaking her head. And even the other people, you know, that really like stuck into me with that. But you know, throughout the movie, I mean, throughout the movie, like, you even like look at the women when they're getting together and getting acquainted with each other, and they're in the swimming pool, and they're talking about femininity, what it means to them, you know, how muscular they want to be, you know, what type of extremes they don't want to go. You know, people had their outlook on it. And Carla Dunlap, I know she was saying that, you know, she saying something like about, you know, women, you know, you can't really put it on a label or something like that. And, you know, I don't know if I entirely agree, but, you know, but that was her perspective on it. So.
Well, see, the 80s was a different time, you know, debate about what makes a woman feminine, you know, if she has muscles, she's too masculine. I mean, there's one part where one of the older judges, he was kind of arguing with Ben Weeder. Ben is the brother of Joey, who's the older judge with that show.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, we could show one of the clips of it.
Double bicep, please. Side chest. Back double bicep.
Turn off 6.
Come on, Bev. That's it. Hold it high. High five, baby. Side tricep. Side tricep. Leg back, please, Rachel. No extra poses. Just the one I called.
Rachel's gonna fight for this one.
Abdominals and legs.
Oh, you can bet on that.
Yeah, I was in that speed, but yeah, but yeah, I was watch. I think I seen a small clip of an interview where
What? Well,
hello,
yeah. Can you hear me?
yeah, you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. My phone, yeah. I seen a small um Francis, and she was saying that I think she was meant to do that show, and that was it. But for some reason, she got the bug, and she wanted to keep like competing. She never won a Miss Olympia, but she just wanted to compete. So
Yeah. I saw an interview she did a while back with Tony Dungy. I think he's an Australian promoter, out of Australia. That's where she lives now, Australia, with her lover. The guy sitting in the front with the red and white striped T-shirt was her now ex-husband, Steve Weinberger, and she talked about
okay,
how she met her husband through that process of doing that movie, and it was an opportunity for her because she was coming from doing track and field and powerlifting, and then she just found a love for it. So me, I think she could have been Miss Olympia at least once. I will say 90 or 91 would have been a good year for it. She could have won both of them, but they went with Iris that year. And then when she came back, I think when she finally got to Olympia, she was only got in the top 10. The closest got was fifth place, and then with a couple of run-ups here and there. They should have changed her look over time because they wanted to be more soft and feminine. Because she had an amazing body. I think we talked about it. If she was competing today, she probably would have had to do. I don't know if she could do women PD. She might do figure more. She would do WPD because so the women now have really evolved.
yeah. I mean, I think she may have paved the way for women today. I mean, of the way her look went, her look was, you know. So yeah. But even I mean, the movie, for those, it was directed by George Butler. I think they made a book about it also.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it takes place the competition. This from the Caesar Palace World Cup, and at the time the winner would have got $1,000. The winner of that show was Carla Dunlap. This was like in 1983, and they had at that show she was in eighth place and she won $400. And a lot of people wasn't feeling it because they thought that she should have won it. But like I said, the way when I even showed a clip, especially with that lady judge, she's shaking her head and like, hell no. You know, I think I had like that clip of I probably didn't. I don't think I got uploaded that shit, but yeah, she's disgusted with Bev Francis. Check out the movie if you ain't see it, but yeah, that's all I got to say.
Yeah,
Uh,
the man on her left side that was Jim Mannion, J.M. Mannion, who runs the IFB now. He was a judge and a promoter for a long time, and I think it was just that she was brought in. This is more her her bodybuilding debut. She wasn't a pro yet officially. Back then they didn't really start doing the pro qualifications for a long time, and then she finally got her pro. That was supposed to be a thing. That was supposed to be her turn into a pro. And '83 was the same year that Carla Dunlap became Miss Olympia because Rich McLeish took a step back from doing Olympia because she wanted to do this movie.
yeah, yeah. So let me read some chats. I have a friend of mine who told me about the Bible documentary at a school. Uh, and then with Rolando said she looked amazing. I don't know who he referring to. I guess he probably talking about
Bev.
Bev Francis or something. Yeah. And I love Rachel McLish. She used to win the bodybuilder contest. Yeah, I mean, you know, like she never Bev Francis. There were pictures that she just to me didn't look feminine enough. There was like couple pictures that she did. She didn't look too bad. One of them I posted it on my YouTube community thing, and I posted it one on TikTok. And people kind of gravitated to the look. She didn't look too bad. I could show some pictures of her. Let me see. There's some pictures of her. Yeah. I mean, she looked like this. Some pictures it's like, I don't know about all that. But yeah.
She had an amazing physique. I mean, it was just I would say it was before the time that she had, but just the evolution of the sport over time. She even said that she had to soften her look a little bit because she knew she was a little bit because she was coming from doing track and field and powerlifting. She had to highlight her hair, a little more makeup, some cosmetic stuff, nothing too heavy, because you can only do so much. But she did enough where she wanted to be more softer and be more presentable. That's the hard part about
Yeah.
that, especially being a woman in a sport like this.
Yeah, she looked all right. There's other pictures I got with Gladys Portuguese. Yeah, that's the one where you was telling me about Van. She was married to Van Damme.
They got married
Yeah.
right about a few years after he came to the States. He was married before to a woman to get his green card. They divorced, and then he married Gladys a few years later. They have 2 kids together, and then he married her again after he divorced his 4th wife.
Yeah, yeah.
She was kind of like someone would say the second coming of Rachel McLesh. Even she did some acting a little bit. She was in a movie.
Yeah. I don't think I ever seen a movie that she did. I don't remember her like that.
It was some kind of horror movie. She had like a little scene with her and another bodybuilder. I seen it once. She had like I think a couple of lines in it, but she was very attractive. Great look to her. Great muscle. She's been to Olympian, and then after a while, when she married Van Damme and had their kids, she just stepped away from bodybuilding. But like Rachel McLesh, she doesn't even associate herself with bodybuilding anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I think she didn't really like the look of how a lot of bodybuilders look, women bodybuilders look. She felt that it was too mannish. So yeah, that's another picture of this lady. I forgot her name because I'm like, are you familiar with this lady?
I recognize her face.
I had it written down. What Krista Parr, that's her name. Yeah,
Okay.
Krista Parr. Yeah, that's
this is what they want to see in women's bodybuilding now. Great muscle, very attractive. She's very feminine. Blonde hair, her eyes. She has a good amount of muscle, but still, people's always going to say because see a little bit of muscle, she's got to be masculine. She's a very attractive woman with muscles. I don't see anything masculine about her. That's if you equate with muscle with masculinity, then there's a lot of guys who don't have a lot of muscles.
I mean, I think it's to each his own. Like, that's never gonna go away. I was like discussing it. Me and my friend, we was talking, and I was telling him that there's times because he know that I'm on social media, and about promoting female bodybuilding a little something like that, and so he was like. I was telling him about, the places that I go to and I meet beating female bodybuilders. And I wanted to invite him, but he was like, nah, I really don't want to deal with no woman stronger than me and stuff like that. I mean, his brother, they not really feeling it. People that I know, they're not like into it. But I would say I'm like the only person, you know, I would say I had an interest of it. Like I remember there was this one guy I was friendly with, and I would see him at the library, and he noticed that I liked the women of muscles, and he liked the women of muscles too. And we started talking. You know, he wasn't like a schmo like that. Like he know a lot about female bodybuilding, but he liked female bodybuilders. He ain't really like it to the whole extreme. So, but not too many people like around where I'm at, it would be interested in wanting to talk to, a chick with muscle. I don't know, but it ain't something that you want to just put out there like that, even if you was, because I remember, I've shared this a lot, I just even me drawing female bodybuilder, people would have looks, so.
The thing is that's what if there's something they don't like, I would say don't say nothing about it. We keep on moving, but the problem is people want to share their opinions. Me doing this content, I don't care because and I talk to ladies say they don't care about what people think about them. It does get to them after a while, but others say, you know what, I can only live for myself. I can't live for nobody else. And every man's gonna have their preference. We like to talk about these ladies, we like to watch them. And other people don't like them, well, too bad, that's you. But there's amazing ladies. They're, very passionate about their sport. They love working out and training, and they just love being bodybuilders. You don't have to be a bodybuilder. You used to be a woman who just likes to work out and build yourself. You look at women, and you have women in CrossFit. You got women in other sports that build muscle.
I'm gonna show you something real quick.
1, 2, stretch. 4, double time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and inhale. Stretching check. Breathe. Don't forget to breathe. 6, 7, 8, and twist. 2, 3. 8 again. 1, 2, up. 2, 3, 4, and heels up. 2, 3, 4, knees up. 2, 3, hips to the side. 3, 4, 5. Breathe. 6, 7, 8. Now heels up. 2, 3, 4. Knees up. 2.
Yeah, I wanted to showcase that one because back in the day, a lot of women wanted to look like her and work out and stuff like that. So
There was I think a good part of the 80s. There was a lot of celebrities doing the aerobics things. Like, remember, Lisa Milano from Who's the Boss had her own a thing aerobics videos called Team Steam.
yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah, I know she had like some hotline or some shit back in the day. Yeah, you had to call a 1-800 number. Yeah. Yo, what's up, Rolando? What's going on?
Hey, what's up? Yeah, I didn't know you were going to do another show. I was like, oh, we going to do another show. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd roll up,
Hey, how you doing, Ro?
I'm hanging in here. A lot going on, working, helping family out, and stuff like that. So I just got off work a little earlier. but I'm here for now. I'm just dropping by.
Rolando, was there any particular what got you into bodybuilding? Was there somebody particular?
Oh, I remember it was Debbie Crook, her. I think Aja Langer.
Debbie Crook.
Yeah, but I know she was more on like the fitness physique side. But when I saw them, because those were the first ones I actually saw, some of the magazines during the early mid '90s when I started getting when I was at my pubescent, kind of stage. It just blew my mind. Just in general for them to have a physique like that, I was just like, whoa. I was like, wait, there's some women like this. I mean, I don't see this every day, so it's just like I started being attracted to it. Then I started getting more of the magazines, and then when they would show up, like I said, I was wrong for the Ricky Lake thing. When they showed up on Montel Jordan, they showed up on
Montel Williams.
I'm sorry, Montel Williams. My bad. Montel Williams, and when they showed up on what's her name again? The Jenny Jones show. I was like, wow. I was like, okay. So I didn't see anything that was making people think that this was, because I still look at them very femininely. They just got a little muscle on them. That's what I always thought. So I don't know why, people take it so.
Like it's a big deal. I think because
Yeah.
people kind of look at women, soft and delicate, and like the other day, my mother, she was watching something on YouTube, and she was like browsing to it, and then she happened to come across this video of this woman, a woman bodybuilder. She had to be like in figure or something, and her muscles was popping out to a point where my mother was asking, "Is that a woman?" And so,
Oh.
just the fact that people seeing that, because my mother, she's from Africa, and she's kind of traditional in a way,
Oh.
but people seeing that, it's kind of it's not the norm. It's but it's funny because a lot of women are working out, in social media and stuff like that. Everywhere you turn, you'll see like a woman in shape and working out or something like that, bodybuilding. If she ain't bodybuilding, she doing jujitsu and all these other things. But it's even to this. I mean, in this year 2026, it's still people still go through. I mean, people still these women have that stigma of having muscles. It's just not accepted. It's like the
Yeah.
man, they're supposed to be hard. Women, they're not really supposed to be hard. They're more of a soft, delicate, graceful, elegance with them. And so when they see that, it's like it don't even matter if it's a little bit, because some of them have even said that, they just have a little bit of muscle. I think George said that also, but society's not going to accept it, and not even what we was talking about pumping iron too, like there was this lady judge, she couldn't stand looking at Bev Francis. I don't know. You've seen Pumping Iron too. Have you seen it?
I saw clips. No, I saw clips. Like old school clips of it, but nah, I didn't see it
Yeah,
in its whole
but
entirety.
check the movie. Check the movie out, and you'll see what I'm talking about. I mean, the movie is basically about people's perception of what is femininity from bodybuilders and the judges.
Yeah.
So
I saw it quite a few times on television here and there. And then one time it was one of these days where I was home, nothing to do. I'm on Pornhub, just popping around looking at porno. And then I saw the Pumping Iron was on Pornhub. I said, you know what? Pumping Iron 2. I said, it's been a long time since I saw this. So I watched it. It was, pretty much the same story. There's a part where you can find it on my IG. It's a scene which Corey Everson, not Corey, sorry, Bev Francis and Carla Dunlap are getting massages, and they're talking about the debate of what the judges want or what they want to see, and Carla Dunlap is a very smart, intelligent lady. Give a shout out to her, and just debating about the what they think is feminine, what's masculine. I mean, there's always going to be the subject of what is considered what a woman should look like. As you mentioned again, soft and feminine. Women carry our children, and men are supposed to be hard and ripped. But not all men are hard and ripped. I'm telling you right now, from my experience, I'm not hard and ripped. And
Yeah.
You don't have to be hard and ripped, but it's just like the characteristic of it. That's what I'm trying to imply. Like that's how what people are implying on.
Mm.
I'm gonna use this for an example. And don't flip out, George, please. But on with the draft, they starting they starting the draft already with the 18 to 24 up, and it's just men. They got to do the draft. No women, no response from the women.
It's probably should respond to that
My
because
mom.
the fact is,
So
selective service is not limited to just men anymore. And you're gonna, and that's the thing is, you're gonna, as right now, there's a lot more men, a lot more women in society here in America than is women. I mean, there's a lot more women than is men. Women outnumber men almost 5 to 1.
Really? Wow.
And how many, you got to put some women someplace. If you're not going to put them in battle positions, you got to put them in medical positions or any kind of position they can take. It's just, the problem is the military has been run by a drunk who don't know what he's doing. He's not no real military brain. And that stuff he's trying to push it's not going to work. Because, like I said, with not as many men in this country compared to women, you're gonna have to pick. Selective service is about not just, usually back in the day, selective service was just for men 18 and over. Now it's for anybody who's 18 and over. They're trying to push up to 42 for drafts, but you're not gonna. Nobody at 42 is going to want to join. No, it's gonna be a hard time. If you do draft, you're gonna see a lot of people either applying for disability or running to Mexico or running to Canada.
Man, yeah, that's crazy. I mean, because I'm 43, I'll be 44 later on this August, so it's like I can't. I don't see myself out.
You see people go to prison.
Let me show this video because I was telling him about it.
I mean, in the muscularity round, she's the most muscular. Then she should get one.
Yeah, but then you shouldn't talk to the judges the way you do at the meeting.
But I told them in the first round,
because
looking for Jack.
Yeah,
I didn't mention anything about femininity when I told them what to look for in the first round. I said, look for muscularity.
Yeah, but if it's too much, you said.
This is why we get criticized by the audience. I mean, this audience
They
went
look for
nuts
someone.
over muscles. That's what they were here to see. That's what.
But do you look at it for who's got the biggest muscles?
Muscularity is only a part of it. Obviously, it's bodybuilding, and of course we look at the muscles. That's the main thing, but not necessarily who has the biggest.
What do you think it would do if Bev Francis were to win this contest?
I think it would be a total disaster, and I think the sport would just totally go in reverse. It's growing by leaps and bounds. Women are interested in weight training. Every woman I've ever met has wanted to improve her body, but Bev Francis does not look like a woman. She does not represent.
Yeah, I just wanted to play that clip. I had it. I knew I forgot to kind of upload that, but that's the clip I'm talking about.
Because there's that part before. That's the older British judge. That's the one that was having the argument when they were backstage. He was one arguing with Ben Weeder about the focus on the muscularity, not so much the femininity. That female judge, I don't know. She might be still around if she's alive. That's like I said. This movie's been about 40 years ago.
Oh,
yeah, that's like my little brother.
Yeah,
my little sister.
Yeah. So it's just always gonna be a debate. It's from that period to now. From one thing always people talk about how body changed because of, especially in the last 10 years, because of Iris Kyle. But I wouldn't put it on Iris Kyle. I would put it some on Kim Zavetsky. She was. Yeah, she was really huge.
I remember.
Yeah, she was really huge in '99. And then you go with Andrea, and people like Andrea because she has a great look, that great femininity. She has a bit of what Linda Murray had, and a bit of what Iris had.
I like Kim Chavesky. I used to hang up. I remember I hanged up her picture on my wall. You know,
Oh, cool.
and to a point where I was living in a boys' home, and one of the counselors, they seen it, and he was telling me that women like that, they gonna fuck you instead of you fucking them. So
Well, Kim
he told me
Chavesky,
that.
she's the mother of 2 kids. She has 2 grown boys now. So somebody fucked her. So
So yeah, that's what he used to tell me.
Hey, I would have told that whoever that was that at your school, I would have said, hey man,
that's the thing
fantasy.
is,
I can have a fantasy. I ain't allowed to have a fantasy. No,
yeah, that's the thing is, men and women just are still like regular women. They like to be with if it's anybody who's if it's just a man. Like I was talking with Eunice, Barbara Majan. If you saw a picture of him, her boyfriend, he looks like a regular dude. There's nothing, he's not no bodybuilder type of guy. He's just tall, skinny, kind of tech guy. I think right now she's in Canada because that's where he works at and that's where he lives. She's up there with him. He's from Brazil. I've seen women whose husbands a couple of whose husbands look like me. I mean, I think women will find if they find a man or a woman they feel like they comfortable with. Not all of them are always bodybuilders, But again, that's what people's mind they're thinking that you see these big muscles. That some people are not as strong as you think. Maybe the guy who doesn't work out and train, the regular everyday guy, maybe not as strong as them, but any other man can still outweigh him and push more weight, and don't have to be a level bodybuilder, just a guy who stays in good shape.
But I was gonna say something. You remember that video that went viral? She's one of my favorite, I think, Asian female bodybuilders. I forget her name again. She had a fight with that other Asian dude. That was, I guess he was an MMA fighter over there in Japan or something.
Kim.
Yeah.
He took her down, or like he
Yeah.
he didn't beat her, but he beat her, he kind of beat her, and she was low.
That's
but I was looking at that.
That's what goes
He
through.
manhandled her.
Yeah, because he had training, and just because she's big muscles doesn't mean you're strong. I just interviewed a lady who does powerlifting. She's like 5'2". You were there, KL. That was Suzanne Davis. She's strong because she does powerlifting, but she has to change her practice and training when she's got to get ready for bodybuilding. You see some of these CrossFitter women. Some of them look like bodybuilders, but they just train differently.
Yeah, especially that Danny Spiegel, her.
Yeah, I think she just did that American Gladiator thing Friday, and there's a couple of ladies. Yeah, a couple of ladies who IFB pros are on there. One lady that got them interviewed, Danny Means. She's I forget what's her character, Voltage.
Okay.
This bodybuilder. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but her name is Donna Oliveira. Yeah, I was reading about her.
Yeah, I remember her, that Donna Oliveira.
Yeah, Oliveira. Yeah. I did a little research on her. She passed away years ago.
Yeah.
She started out, not wanting to be a bodybuilder, and then eventually she started, training, and she ain't like the way how she looked, and then she got like a coach, and then she started competing, and she was on the Regis show back in the day, and I'll play some of it.
Yes, thank you very much. And Chris Alexander from New York. Come on out, Chris. Go. Hi, how you doing, Donna? Nice to have you here. Chris, nice to see you.
Nice to be here.
Gee, you look so tan and beautiful. Is it tough to get a tan when you're from the East, as both of you are?
No, not anymore now that they have sun tanning beds.
You stay right on there, huh?
Yeah.
How long have you been doing this now?
I've been bodybuilding for a little over 2.5 years.
Are you what they call a mesomorph? Did you always have the kind of muscles that would pop out with a little work?
Yes, definitely.
That's a great advantage to have, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And the symmetry of the body, did you inherit that from one of your parents?
My parents, both.
They
Really?
each gave me something
Nice little
different.
tiny waist.
Very small. My dad had the broad shoulders and the big legs.
Makes it so much easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
And Chris, what about you? Were you what they call a mesomorph, or?
Yes, I was a competitive swimmer starting at the age of 6 for 12 years, and when I look back even at pictures when I was 6 and 7 on swim team, the muscles were there, so it was to some degree something that I was born with.
When did you get down to some serious bodybuilding?
I started working out with weights about 6 years ago, but basically to firm and tone since I'd stopped swimming, and eventually got coerced into competing, so I've been competing for 4 years.
Now, how long are your workouts?
Mine last about 2.5 hours, 3 hours. Before a contest, they become a little bit more intense because of the aerobics that you add to it.
You do add the aerobics to it. Had to bring out the definition?
Right, that's to increase your metabolism, to burn fat.
Right. I have noticed, I mean, the women in the bodybuilding game, their muscles are so much more pronounced. Is it easier for you to develop that definition?
Well, a lot of the definition that you see is due to the dieting that you do before the contest. There are probably a lot of women that you pass by from day to day that may be competitive bodybuilders, but haven't been on that strict diet.
Right. When do you start the strict dieting before a contest like this?
I think it varies from person to person, generally somewhere between 12 and 8 weeks, depending on how much weight you have to lose.
Well, that's 3 months.
It's a long time.
Well, did you have a lot of weight to lose for this contest?
I like to eat. I generally get myself up farther than I would like to be.
Well,
So it takes me 12 weeks
to lose how many pounds?
To lose weight slowly, about 15 pounds.
I'm kidding, you pig out that much, huh?
You bet.
Pig out, big Chris. How does it affect your social life? Are you married or boyfriends or?
I have a boyfriend.
Yeah. And is he a weightlifter too or a
He
bodybuilder?
bodybuilds to stay in shape.
Mm-hmm. But he's not a competitive
No.
bodybuilder like you.
No.
So what is that like to your relationship?
It's tough. It takes a lot of understanding and support from the other person. They really have to understand what you go through. The dieting is extremely strict, very, very low fat, low calories.
But at least he's aware of that
stressful.
because he's into
Right,
it to some degree.
exactly.
What about you, Chris?
Yeah, it definitely takes a commitment, and you need to be with someone that understands that. To some degree, it's like somebody that may be very involved with their career, except it goes a step further because you have the psychological game as well as the dieting to go along with it.
Yeah.
But I can adapt. I can adapt to that.
Yeah. The other lady, her name was Chris Alexander. She's a swimmer, and
Yeah, she
she
was good.
eventually became a
I think
bodybuilder.
she was in, I believe she was in the movie Getting Physical. Have you ever heard of that movie?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I know it about the song. I ain't ever know.
Yeah, it was a movie that came out, I think about gotta be maybe 2 or 3 years after Pumping Iron, the Pumping Iron 2. And it had Alexandra Paul from Baywatch. She was the girl who got robbed, and then she started working out, and she started getting into bodybuilding. I think there was Diane Dance was in that movie. I think Richard McLesh was in the movie. A couple other ladies was in that movie. She was in that movie too. Had the song "Getting Physical, Getting Physical." And
Yeah, okay.
Wow. It used to come on CBS. I remember the first time I saw it was CBS.
Yeah.
That's
Hold on,
pretty
guys.
cool.
I mean, there were some amazing ladies. I think one lady that stuck out for me back in the day. She, to me, also could have been Miss Olympia in her career. I just pulled up her picture. You want to pull it up, KO? And that is Sandy Riddell. Sandy, she had just this beautiful look to her. I mean, great physique. I mean, and also about her, she was a firefighter. She's a firefighter, and she was dating. I think she was dating. Was it Rich Gaspar? Yeah, I think they were dating for a good bit. But Sandy had a great look to her.
Sandy, yeah. I think I heard her name. I might have seen some photos, but I can't put someone on it.
I dropped a picture in the. KL can pull it if you can. KL can put it up if you can. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if he's away right now. Oh, there he goes.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I've seen it before. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, I've seen them before, probably.
I mean, she had, she had a great look to her, very muscular, feminine. She, couple Olympias, she came second runner up to to Corey Everson. I think she competed up to the '90s, and then she eventually, like so many others, she eventually just bowed out and retired.
Yeah. I was gonna say, she kind of reminds me of you remember that one, I think she passed away. You probably already know who I'm talking about. Don Whitham. She has that, not that look like her, but almost kind of like favors a little bit of the muscular, physique just a little bit.
Don Whitham, yeah, I remember Don.
Yeah.
Not so much. Don had a different look to her compared to Sandy. I think she was a little shorter. And then and after that, she had to deal with cancer, and then she had the massive breasts at one point. I think it kind of took away steady for her physique. But when she was competing back in the day, she had a great look to her.
Another woman that I found out she passed away, Sharon Marvel. She died in 2013. I didn't realize that.
Oh
yeah, she's been gone for a long time.
Yeah, that I did.
I just now realized it. I just think yeah. She said that she got her pro card in 1989 and competed 4 times in the Olympia in competition with the Jan 10 in 1995. There were rumors that judges required her to have a breast operation, and then along the way, she retired from bodybuilding. She left because of that, what I understand. And then some people seeing her, she didn't look that good. There was one point she was doing wrestling sessions and stuff like that, and then she's to a point where she was hitting rock bottom. Like some people seen her like she was overweight and depressed, and 2013 she passed away. So yeah, I remember Sharon Marvel. I used to like her pictures. Yeah, seeing her.
Yeah, I remember her, especially on the WPW Women's Physique magazine. Is that what it was?
Yeah. She was featured in there.
She had amazing physique, very beautiful, great minds, and that's the thing. Always they want women to be more feminine. That's why they push the idea of breast implants, and she didn't want to do it. I think it's like some ladies who don't do it because it's invasive surgery. It's expensive, and and it's just some don't feel comfortable with having getting, because I've talked about this, how sometimes getting implants can get you sick because it's a foreign object in your body. But she had a beautiful physique.
Yeah.
She was she was a beautiful woman too. She had like that girl next door look to her.
Yeah, she did. I remember seeing some of her pictorials. I was like, wow, but I didn't know it went bad for her. Yeah. R.I.P. Wow.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of them that passed away. They got sick, and yeah, it's a lot of them.
One that stood out to me. I never found out till like maybe 6 years ago, and that the one that really hit me was Siren. I was from
American Gladiators.
What would you say again, George?
Shelly Betty.
Yeah, Shelly Betty, man. That really hit me hard. I was like, oh man, I didn't even know.
This is a true story. I remember I heard this a long time ago. She was dating her coach. His name was Tom Romano, and she actually had gotten pregnant and had got a miscarriage. And,
I remember you saying.
Yeah, and then it wasn't long before she broke up. Then she was doing American Gladiators. Then she was working as a crewman for the all women's yachting team, and she was like partially deaf. So
okay, I think I remember seeing that interview, one of American Gladiators, when she said that. Yeah.
And it's also, I think I saw a video, I forgot to share it, but we're focusing on the 80s right now, but it's one where she's talking and she can speak, like some deaf people, like Lou Ferrigno, he's partially deaf. He has that kind of mumma, because it affects your speech as you're deaf, but her wasn't too affected, but she still did sign language and she still could hear a bit, but she wasn't all the way deaf. She was a beautiful lady, there was so many women that came in the era that were just amazing. Like Denise Rosowski, she went through some hard stuff. Now she's kind of doing a little better now.
Okay. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Going back to the 80s, it was just a certain level to it. It was just women's body was just starting. You go back to the first competition in the Miss Olympia back in '80 with Rachel McLeod and what's her name? I forgot. I keep forgetting how to pronounce her name. She was the lady who beat Rachel the next year in '81, and after she lost to Rachel in '82, she stepped back. She became I think she went back to Finland, somewhere in the Netherlands, and became a House representative for her community. And she also still worked behind the scenes as a judging. I mean, so many women that came from that sport in that era.
Yeah, this is one lady. Her name is Joanne McCartney. And this is a picture of her. McCartney. She's from the UK, and yeah, I think she's a power lifter. I got a clip of. Go ahead, say what you were saying.
Amazing body. She was massive too.
Yeah. Don't go too. I'm gonna play the video, and then you can say whatever you want to say.
Okay, I'm originally from Yorkshire, North England, which is about 400 miles north of London. I left England in 1978. I was about 18 years of age. I went over to Greece to be a nanny, and I was a nanny for a few months, and then I joined an American company working as a sales rep, selling educational materials, Berlitz language courses, that type of thing. And we were based in Fort Lauderdale. And we used to come in and out of Fort Lauderdale, working in the Caribbean, the Bahamas, and in Europe. And after I'd worked with them for a few years, I started putting on some weight. We used to go out for a lot of dinners, a lot of parties. We did a lot of socializing with the work. So I decided that I needed to lose some weight. And what happened was I went to aerobics classes because that was the in thing then. And I'm not coordinated at all that way. So I could not do aerobics. I went to one class and said that was it. And then I went to Nautilus, which was a little bit better. I joined the Nautilus class for about a month, and I seemed to feel that was on the road to where I wanted to be with training. And somebody suggested maybe I should try free weights. So I went to this little gym in Fort Lauderdale and started with the free weights. And I started training, and about 3 months after I got into training, I went to a seminar and a guest posing by Corey Everson, who's the current 6-time Miss Olympia. And it was 6 years ago. So it's 1984, November 84 I started. I think it was about March 1985 I saw her. And I went to her seminar and everything. And I was really impressed, and I liked the look. So I went back to my gym and asked the person who was running the gym how I could get into that kind of thing, bodybuilding. How could I look like that? And he got me some magazines and some books to read, and we just developed a training program. I started training twice a day, 6 days a week. Put me on a diet, a very drastic, low-fat, high-carbohydrate, high-protein type diet. And I started training. And the one thing that kept me going was I set myself a goal right from the beginning. There was a contest in July 1985, and I said I was going to be my first contest. So I went into that contest, which I won. And from then on, it was a Miss Summers contest, a novice show. And from then on, I went into more and more competitions, each time learning and reading more and talking to other bodybuilders.
She opened the door for so many women from the UK, like Bernie Price, Paula Birkinshaw, Lisa Cross. I mean, she was probably the first major female bodybuilder out of Great Britain.
Yeah, they don't have too many, from what I know. They don't have too many like female bodybuilders in the UK like that.
Yeah. Other than right now, people like Ramon Scottson, she does women's bodybuilding. You do have Sarah. What's her last name? I forgot her last name. Sarah. She's women's physique. I think most of it's either figure, physique, and bikini and wellness. But there are a few handful of female bodybuilders, not as many as active like it used to be, because everybody's moving away from that division because they want to be the more aesthetically feminine division that is either bikini or wellness.
Yeah, I remember I met Ruby Muscle. I was talking with her. She's telling me that her experience in living in the UK, that there's women that like her look and stuff.
Yeah, Lisa Smith. She just got a pro card last year. She had to apply for it because I interviewed her because she did the Armada Muscle Fest and she was only one of two women that was competing in women's bodybuilding. But because she was talking with Lena Popa and and she saw how well she improved from last time, they went ahead and just put an application and they fast tracked it and boom, she got a pro card. She's Lisa Smith's an amazing lady. I mean, I think one thing is I think some women like I was hearing somebody talking about I just cut a video for a lady I interviewed, Hannah Mitchell, and we talked about her friend Sarah. Sarah, she looks as massive as she could do women's physique, but she's not as big. Like she's right now off season. Right now, she's maybe a few months from her next show. She's like 165. And they have women right now in physique that's sitting around pushing 200. That's way too big. You might as well have that much mass and size. You might as well go ahead and do women's bodybuilding, but they're going to use the excuse says, I'm not trying to be that big, but you're at that doorway. Just step through it and see how you do. If you don't do well, you can always go back, but you got to be smarter with your training, your dieting.
Well, it's a question. Thoughts on Dana Anderson?
I remember Dana Anderson. I think she was a good part of the early 80s. God, it's been a long time.
I don't know who that is. Gotta throw a picture in there. So yeah, I mean this what's up?
Oh wait, Clyde. Yeah, I'm about to cut out, you guys. Yeah, I got to get some food. So, but it was cool. Yeah. All right.
Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
All right. Peace, guys. All right. See you soon. Yeah.
If she was an attractive lady, she competed a good bit, but I don't think she stayed in the sport as long.
No. Let me see. He says Ali Bus, another great 80s competitor. I don't know who that is, neither. I mean, it's like it's a lot of them, some of them, you gotta. I had to like Google 80s female bodybuilder. That I had these names. There's some I didn't check out. Tommy Morrow. The last name is Moreau. I know Carla Nelson. Michelle Ivis Brent. You interviewed her. She started competing in the 80s and stuff.
Also, there's
he said that though she appeared only once in the Olympia. Okay.
There was Sue Graffner. She was in the 80s.
Yeah, I heard about. Yeah.
And Jackie Priestley.
I don't know who that is.
Jackie, she was kind of like blonde. She died a few years ago from cancer. There's a lot. I mean, some of the ladies there were some ladies that even turned pro that competed by it for a good while. Never got to the IFBB because it was just
I feel like they've forgotten. Not to cut you off, like they're just in some sort of way, like just forgotten. Like I mean, you could research them, but at the same time, if it makes sense, they're like nobody don't focus on them, like or focus on them when they were competing. I noticed that people. YouTubers, they'll show like old clips of these women competing, but outside of that.
Well, they're always going to focus on the men more, or particularly women like Corey, Anja, Bev, because she was massive. We talk about Kate Baxter. She had a great look to her. Some say she also, could have, if she didn't die, how far she could have gone career. I've seen a video where I actually remember I got to meet David Lee Roth. He talked about it because that was his coach. I saw a video where you were talking about Kate Baxter, how she used to train David at his gym. The guy didn't want him to train David there, but because he knew her, he was cool with her. He let her train David. I mean, certain women really stand out. And that's why they got a lot of attention. Others were they were there, like women like Mary Roberts, Clara Furr. They were popular. They did a lot of the magazine covers back in the day, and they competed. There was so many, but some others, they just really didn't stand out as much. That's one thing. If you stand out in a sport, you get a lot of attention. If you're just there, one lady who I remember, her name's back in my head because I look at her and she looks just like, a bit like Andrea. I often say her name because she looks like Andrea. Her name is skipping mine. I know it's the back of my head. But
we need to chat a little bit. You said if it wasn't for Corey Everson, I would have never known about female bodybuilding.
Yeah. Because Corey was a golden girl. She won a champion in '84, state champion for 6 years. Some say she could have kept on going, but she decided she wanted to step away from the sport and to live her life. She was married to her husband Jeff for a long time, and then they got divorced. Then she married her second husband, and and they adopted a couple of kids.
Yeah. Hold on for a second. I don't really got much to say about it. There's another clip I could show about this bodybuilder. Her name was Dr. Lynn something. This was maybe like in '82 or something like that. Early '80s.
And you see the NBC symbol because bodybuilding used to be on network television.
Yeah.
Anyways, if she was competing today, I would say, well, she has a great look to her. Maybe bikini, probably.
Yeah.
Because the girls now in physique.
What about fit model?
Fit model? No.
She's
too much muscle. And fit model, they want you to have too much muscle. She wouldn't do fit model. She could be bikini or maybe fit. Not fit model.
They almost look a little bit similar. But
not too much, because if you look at fit model, those girls they do have some, but not enough muscle that's really more defined, because they want to be too defined, because they want to pull away. Because how bikini's looking now, the girls in bikini, like we were talking with Susan, the girls in bikini are getting about as ripped as girls.
Bigger than her. They was big. They bigger than her. Really, tell you the truth.
Yeah. But it's just like I said, it's the evolution of every sport, of every division over a period of time. And then by the '90s, they started the fitness division, and then here comes figure, here comes physique, and then here comes the others. But with the exception of wellness and bikini, they were brought in. They didn't evolve in other sports. They were brought in from someplace else.
Yeah, it all goes back to of them like showcasing that to society, like that's for a society's approval, and that's the way. That's the way for me to say it. you know, because they don't want that too masculine look. They want that femininity. So
That's
you know.
that's the thing is, you can never be masculine by appearance. You're gonna be more defined, more developed.
You
Masculinity.
always saying that's not true.
No, no, no.
You're always saying
Masculinity
that it's
is not
not true,
masculinity.
bro.
People can
It's not.
confuse
It's not true.
masculinity with muscle. Having muscle doesn't make you masculine. It's just
And some women do look masculine, bro. Like you keep saying that. There's
that's
men that look feminine, yo. Like
but the
there's
thing is,
men that look
this guy's
feminine with muscles.
feminine. You know, this you know, like look at Prince. He was a pretty motherfucker back in the day. You know, but that's the
What's
thing
your
is,
point?
the point is that masculinity is not about muscle. I keep saying this. It's about how you carry yourself, how you present yourself.
It's an appearance, though. It's not.
You can never
It's an
say
appearance.
it's
Like if you
just
looking at
muscularity.
somebody, they gonna get turned. They. I mean, if it's not that, why are things the way it is now?
Because
Like, come on.
people put a label to some things. They think because you have muscle, you're masculine. You're not. You just have muscle. Because they equate muscle with man, that's where they say masculinity. Women can never be masculine, no matter how much they say it or how much somebody put their mind to it. It's appearance. It's not about appearance. It's about how you behave, how you move. You know, you can have
That
muscle.
doesn't make sense, man. And in a way, you know, I could get what you're saying, but that's not entirely true. It's not.
It is
I
true.
mean, they got binary people. They have binary people.
The thing is, people have their mindset of what they think and what believe, but not what's true.
Do you know what binary is?
Mhm.
Do you know what binary is?
It's both, but that's something somebody started. But that's just what some is a tag, a label somebody gave. But again, that's different between masculinity and muscularity. Some of they have a lot of muscle, but they're not masculine. They might look masculine if you because that's what you
Some
think.
of them they do act masculine too. They do have masculine traits. You
But then
can't
that's
say that they
being
don't.
masculine doesn't. That's the thing is because of what they do a very aggressive, considered masculine sport. And some of these ladies do act because you know they're like some of them, quite a few of them are lesbians. But many women who are lesbians don't act masculine. They're still feminine. They like to dress up like women, like to wear girly things, like to do women things that women like to do. It's just
I
that
hear you.
society have their views and thoughts of what they consider, what does they believe, what's the idea of masculinity. You can't never really portray that with women. Like you look at guys who dress up in skinny pants, skinny jeans. Are they feminine? Are they effeminate? Yes. Kind of, you know. But that's the thing is, there's always people going to have tag for somebody that
You contradicting yourself because you even saying they feminine.
yeah.
So if they feminine, of course the women gonna be masculine.
There's quick guys who wear like Prince when he was out about. People always call him fit, but that guy had more women around him.
I'm not gonna lie. We people don't know what Prince was
Yeah,
because he was on a different level. Like
that was his appearance.
I mean, he was wearing like his ass cheeks was showing to a point where like the regular person, you know, me and you, we couldn't wear that.
Yeah,
you know, I know if I wore something like that, you know, I'd probably get beat up.
That was his style because that's because some guys can carry off more than others, and that was his style. That's something he learned because this is a true story about Prince. When he was younger, his dad used to play and work in burlesque bars, mine would say strip clubs, and he hung around with women a lot. He learned some of the stuff like how to, he's also
some of that femininity that came in him, and that's why he displayed all that. It still was bad.
Like, you look at guys like Little Richard. He was gay, but that was the thing. Because most cases, some people say he did it because he was given attention. You look at Elvis. He had his style. Each and every person is gonna have a style. What like Charlie Murphy said best in the episode of True Heart Story, we met Prince. The dude looked like like a bitch was getting most of the women because guys were trying to do something. Some of these guys who were macho men, looking hard back in the day, the older cats, they used to wear the tight shirts and like that and wear little makeup lip gloss because they were trying to pull women. Yes, there's some guys that are gay, but some of those guys just did it because they want to get attention, because it was the style, it was the fashion. And with women bodybuilders, like I said, quite a few who I have interviewed and met and talked with, some of them just they like to be like any other woman, but they're always going to be a queen because they're doing a sport that's considered very masculine, and they're going to be associated with masculinity.
Right. Let me read this. I saw one of the NPC shows for Tri-City Classic. The most muscular fit model got almost dead last.
Yeah, because you don't want her too muscular. If she's too muscular like that, she might as well do bikini or go already to figure.
All right. So let me showcase this video that you was telling me about.
And all of a sudden, everybody wants muscle.
Tonight, America's high fashion models are pumping up because big muscles mean big success on and off the screen.
You feel a lot sexier and nicer, and yeah.
Unfeminine? Not anymore. Today, bodybuilding's glamour girls have become hot, muscular models.
Before you cramp, you gotta pump.
Yeah, I had to take the sound out. So
Models with muscle. It's a new trend in the advertising world. 10 years ago, it was socially unacceptable to be a female bodybuilder. Well, today they're getting paid handsomely to pump up in the gym so they can pose in the studio.
What's been happening with the advent of these high-gloss magazines, leader publications, Muscle and Fitness, Flex, Shape, top dollar magazines, putting money into the individual, showing how they can look good. You see that now muscle is not unacceptable, it's become socially acceptable. And because of all of our work, it's now socially desirable. I mean, all of a sudden, everybody wants muscle.
Gladys Portuguese is a world-class bodybuilder. Corey Everson is the 1984-85 Miss Olympia World Champion. Together, they're bodybuilding's glamour girls, modeling everything from sportswear to evening gowns, redefining what the healthy American woman looks like, because fitness in the 80s is more than a fad, it's a lifestyle.
All of a sudden there's this big boom on being slim and toned and fit. Jane Fonda, Linda Evans, everybody is promoting fitness.
The longer you train, the more you get to know your body, and the more you start appreciating yourself. And you feel like, you feel a lot sexier and nicer, and yeah.
You know what I like about pumping up?
Rachel McLeish is yet another bodybuilder with some marketing muscle. As the present spokesperson for Holiday Health Clubs, she's legitimized a bodybuilding campaign that was previously promoted by celebrity sex symbols. Today, advertisers are gambling that muscle and femininity can be sold in the same package.
Before you cramp, you gotta pump.
I mean, it's funny because you don't really see that now. You know, majority of the times you're seeing regular women, yeah. I mean, you know, I looked at Star Trek, and you know, and the women, they don't have muscles, but they're masculine in mentality. You know what I'm saying?
That's the thing. I won't call masculinity. It's they're
I'm saying masculine. That's how I'm looking at it.
But they're on a series where they are in the military. You know, the Federation is considered the military, and they have to. If you're in the military, you have to be a certain way. Even the women in our military, you don't have to be masculine. You just have to be understand. You have to take orders, give orders. You know, that's not a masculine thing. It's just about being a soldier or being a sailor or Marine. You know, it's part of training because if we all know, yes, military most dominated by men. You know, because men go to fight wars. But again, I go back to the fact that there are more women in America than there are men, and that's why eventually the military started to allow women to get into more positions because you know the numbers. You know, women want to be part of the serve the country, just like men do. You know, But
Yeah, but they're not getting drafted. I noticed that.
you know, like I said again, it's going to come to, they may not put them into battle positions, but when it comes to the numbers, we're going to have a lot of men who are not going to join. Some might go to other country or rather go to prison than get drafted. Why not do a hot in the cot for the next 2 or 3 years and get shot up or beat up? They're not going to go to a draft. What they're gonna do. They're gonna dip into the resources of the National Guard before they start drafting people. We didn't have
eventually, from what they saying, it's gonna happen. So I don't know.
Doubt it. Like I said, he only has maybe 2 more years left of his administration, and plus midterms are coming up. Even if he could, he has to still pass some things past Congress. We didn't have draft during the last Gulf Wars, and we're not gonna. It's not like it's war. Like people start thinking like this is World War II or World War III. It's not. This is a little thing that's happening right now, and most of the time you're not even fighting directly. You're not putting boots on the ground. There are people there on the ground, but they're not doing much. Everything's doing from long-range missiles and stuff like that. There's not that much of active man-on-man, skin-on-skin war like it used to be back in the day. Technology. But we're not going to see a draft. They talk about it. If it happens, it happens. I'm too old, so I'm not going to worry about it. But they're going to dip into National Guard reserves before they start drafting people.
Point is that the women ain't going to say, and women ain't saying nothing about it. So
what's there to say? Everybody's saying something. What's there much to say? You speak. Women say, "Hey, it's not going to run
no."
up."
I'm saying that because you talking about they going to be in the front lines.
I'm not saying
they want to be in the front lines.
If they have to be
front lines, something pertaining to it was something that you were saying that it was like correlating to that. Something to that nature. You were saying
it's going to eventually happen like that because you know what. You're gonna dip into resources of men, and you don't have no choice. But women can shoot guns, and they're trained to shoot guns. They're trained to fight. Like I said again, the dumbass that's sitting right now is the so-called Secretary of War, which is Secretary of Defense. He has to understand that when it gets to the point where you need your resources, and women are part of the resource. They can be drafted because
all I'm saying, I don't want to go too deep into the politics thing. All I'm saying that to a certain point. That the women they do become masculine. It's not like they're not going to be feminine. That's all. That's what my argument is.
But
you're saying that they can't be masculine.
No matter how much they train, they never really become masculine. Again, being masculine,
it is going to be a masculine.
They're gonna have to be tough, but masculine is a state.
So what that is? What is that? That of course that is going to be a masculine trait.
But
you can't say that it's not a masculine trait.
It's not a trait.
That's feminine. Yeah. That's the feminine trait.
Well, it's feminine trait is they'll still have the feminine trait, but masculine trait is not a trait. It's a way of behavior. When you are in a situation.
So what's the trait? What's the meaning of trait?
Trait. Let me pull it up if I can. It's something mostly is genetic, and being masculinity is not genetic for women. But when put in a situation when you are going to die, when you're battling, you're fighting, you will pull out all the stops to survive. Let's pull up this trait. A trait is a specific enduring characteristic or quality of an individual, covering both.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. A characteristic.
Yeah, but again, it says cover genetics and behavior, tendencies, and personalities. Traits that are
behavior, tendencies,
environment, or combination of both, determining how an individual behaves or appears, often measured by models like 5 different personalities. But that's the thing is, masculinity is always going to be a thing that men carry. Women will put in a situation, yes, they're going to act a little bit more, but they're still going to be. Sometimes some women like to still feel that idea of being feminine. They like to do things that women like to do, and some say men like to do some things they like to do. But again, this goes back to when it comes push yourself. He goes, Shao Kahn.
Jean-Claude Van Damme is one lucky man.
Well, it still is. He's still married to the guy that's Portuguese.
Yeah.
That's always going to be debate about femininity and masculinity. It's always going to be debate. It's never going to be a solution.
Yeah. There was another bodybuilder I wanted to. I don't want to forget. Her name is Laurie Bowman. You know, she was in that. Oh shit. She was in the Pumping Iron movie and stuff. And yeah. She in the movie. She kind of admired Rachel McLish and stuff. She wanted to beat her. Then in the movie she was like, fourth place.
A lot of women admire Rachel. She was the first Miss Olympia. She had a great look to her, great femininity. A lot of women admire her. She was the standard.
Yeah. This is some of these pictures I got. Janice Regain, Lisa Lyon. I just took some of these pictures. Ray Holy. You ever reached out to her?
No. You know.
No, you never did, out of curiosity.
No, like I said, I reached out a couple ladies before, but they hadn't responded. But I don't think I reached out to her.
Yeah, I did not too long ago, but I don't think it didn't go anywhere. So
I know Jeremy, he reached out to Laura Fetchek, who used to be Ice on American Gladiator.
Yeah, I know. She don't do virtual panels.
Yeah. The thing is, she got to understand that most people may not have the time to go and come all the way there, bring equipment, set it up, where it's easier to talk to you through this.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I mean, it's what the times like. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with paying her. Like, I mean, the only far I could go is 100. I was telling her like, look, I don't mind paying you. You just have to show up.
Yeah,
don't waste my time, and that's it.
That's the thing. If I'm gonna put money out like that, that's why most of my interviews, if you ask me to pay you, I can't do it. That's money I can put in my pocket. If you come on here, I offer you something like I do. Like I always offer ladies, hey, I've seen my care package. I can get stuff on the deal because I get disability. I can get stuff on the deal, and I get some special things, and send it to. I just sent one to a lady last week. She'll be getting to her house by tomorrow.
You're not paying them, but you're compensating them. I mean, wouldn't that be the same thing?
Well, kind of like it, but like I said, it takes a while before I get it because I don't give I don't do it I do it once a month because like I said, I stretch my dollars, so I just send them gifts. So but yeah, sing like a bit of compensation, you could say, but it's straight cash. I can't do it.
Yeah, but I do agree with you. I mean, everybody can't meet you face to face like that. And she do a lot of interviews. She do like this talk discussions, especially with fitness and stuff like that. On Jubilee and I think other platforms. I mean, she's doing her thing. So
those platforms can afford to pay her. We can't.
Yeah.
We don't have that money like Jubilee or whoever talk show have. We don't. You get a job, you just go back. I don't get it. I have disability, and already about the end of the month, I'm about broke. So I gotta.
I'm nearly fired. It might fire me on that job.
I mean,
So
one thing, if I could do it, I would love to sponsor an athlete. Because ladies, this will either way. I say if I could, I would love to sponsor a couple of bodybuilders. Some amateurs, maybe some pros. Cover some like their travel expenses, something like that. If you want to go to a show, I get your plane ticket and get you set at a motel and everything else. It's just something you have extra money in your pocket for you. You want to get the things you need, like get your hair done, your makeup done. We're talking. Susan says her next show, she would have to learn how to do her makeup and her hair on her own. And that's what some ladies do to find the way to save some money. But going back to one lady, I don't know if you remember her. She competed a long time. Ellen Van Mars, and
Yeah,
she
I think I know the name. She got like this long blonde hair type. I think I know who you're talking about.
it wasn't that long, but she also
She's the
uh
blonde haired girl with
yeah,
muscles.
yeah, she's from the Netherlands. She came up, second runner up a couple of times against Corey, where she competed.
Mhm.
She had an amazing body, great look to her.
Mhm.
I think she did a couple Olympics before she retired. I think about the late 80s. I've just pulled up a picture of him. We'll drop it into the
All
presentation.
right, drop it on the thing. I'll get it.
Yeah, and she had a great look to her. Um, great muscle. Great femininity. Um, she's one of those ladies that just overall. I mean, to me, I was a big fan of hers back in the day.
Somebody said, George, if so, do you have a particular athlete that you want to sponsor in mind?
Um, um,
Andrea?
Andrea don't need no sponsorship. She's good.
You still would sponsor her anyway.
I would, but you know what? I know she's good when she got a mutation. There's quite a few ladies, not off the top of my head, but there's some ladies I've talked to that they have potential. They just need. There's one lady I follow. Her name is. I interviewed her. She just did a show was for pro qualification, but she get a pro card. Clara Crowder. I think she's a nice lady. She has a great physique. I would say if I could, I would like to sponsor her to come here and do a show like the Olympia Amateur, because she does shows overseas in the UK. And the Olympia Amateur and the Honor Show are the only few shows where you can they're called worldwide shows where you can come from another country and come here and compete. So if she has a passport, just cover her plane ticket, her motel fees, and and give a little per diem so she can have a little walk around money. That's something I wouldn't mind doing.
Yeah, I know you wanted me to go a little bit on the 90s. So yeah, since we're like near the close to the end, so I'll play something from the 90s. Hold on. I got you.
6 did make it to the final pose down. This sport keeps reinventing itself. It keeps changing, Arnold. What are the main determinants now of a women's champion?
It does change all the time. And now it is again, the bodybuilding for women is going in the direction of more the feminine look and the leaner look. Although for the average person, they still probably look very muscular. One thing I want to point out also is that I think that the women are much more talented when it comes to posing. And I think it has a lot to do with their background in other sports.
And 24-year-old Kim Giuseppe of Decatur, Illinois.
She was 24. She's now about almost 60. Can you believe it?
Man.
I was 24. There's a young lady who just
Hey, Prodigy, what's up, man? How you been?
Hey. There was a young lady, she just turned 25 last week, and she just got her first Olympic qualification at the FIBO in Germany. Her name is Christina Zamarova. I hate misspell it. God could call Christina T. And she 25, and this chick, she is young. Her body is crazy. I mean, that was, Kim at 24.
Okay. Didn't you go send me a picture? Oh, okay, you did. I didn't see the notification.
Yeah.
So who's this?
This is Ellen Van Morris.
Okay.
Yeah,
No, I never heard of her.
Yeah, she was just amazing body, great physique. I mean, she was a couple times second runner up to Corey at the Olympia. I think she was second, third runner up. I think first, second runner up. I can't remember, but she had a great look to her. I was a big fan of hers back in the day.
Oh, okay. No, I never. I'm not familiar with her.
Yeah, that's the thing about the '80s. A lot of people are not familiar with a lot of, unless you really follow the sport really good. There's some ladies you won't be as familiar with as others. Because really, I think that's why we talk about the '90s. You know how they. I think the
Yeah,
'90s really, really things started to really pick up for women's bodybuilding in the '90s. You know.
yeah, but I mean, I don't think it's so much of a big deal. Like, I mean, if it's a sport, you want to know like the history,
Mhm.
how far go back, because like even I my interest, I used to play basketball. I wasn't good, but I wanted to understand the history about it. Like the players like in the '80s and a little bit even further down. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, yeah, I mean, you got to know some type of historical reference or something like that, if that's the word I want to use. Historical reference on
Yes.
some things, because
But
just to understand how it evolved and how was it, how certain things are now.
yeah.
Like especially with like that Pumping Iron 2 movie. I mean, it was talking about things that certain effects it taking place now.
But
You
the
know,
problem, a lot of people don't follow history as deep as they supposed to. They only go by so much to a point when they were born or where we're coming up, unless you are taught or told by somebody else, or you learn on your own. Yeah, like you're doing, like you learn on your own. But most people, especially when as far as content, like you didn't know who Ellen Valmar is till I told you, because my information about this, that's a good thing to go back a little bit, also to know how it started. Like I said, again, women's bodybuilding started out in the late '70s. They were wearing high heels. They were almost like um, figure, but then they kick up the high heels. Then by the '80s, they were flat footed. They were doing the men's poses, and by the '90s, it changed because by then Koi, she retired. You know, Linda Murray came in. You see a new crop of other women coming in. Some of those women coming up in the '80s too, but they didn't get as much attention to hit the '90s.
I guess what I'm trying to say, I was curious to, on a certain level.
Mhm.
That's
That's
why,
the thing.
I came
Yeah,
up with the 80 thing.
yeah.
I ain't, because, in the 90s, I started paying attention to women bodybuilders.
Hmm.
80s, I was like focusing on Saturday morning cartoons and shit like that and watching Star Trek. That was my thing. I
Yeah,
wasn't like caring about, women with muscles. I think I would say like comic books kind of like may have took had it took have had that effect on me with that, because you seeing these super powered women and all that type of stuff, and so when you see like these muscular women, you like you seeing it and you could jerk off to them at the time. And being real with you,
yeah.
that was my thought.
I've
and
done it.
and that and that was my thought. And so and then you look at them and it makes sense to you, 'cause, like, damn, how strong is this? How strong is she? So that's how that. And then when you looked at the sessions, oh my God, that's another topic. But yeah, that's how I paid attention to it. I didn't really the '90s. I would say that I kind like when I was in high school. Basically, I was a teenager in the '90s. So yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, but that's the thing is, like you remember the Super Friends, Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman, if you go by the comics, was is actually as strong as Superman. But your TV show, she wasn't as strong. Um,
Mm.
yeah. I used to spec off to the Muscle Max, because look at people like, Bev Francis, one of my favorites. She just, a crazy built, crazy body. There was a Mara Jabbar. I mean, she was a West Indian, but she was from France.
I
Just
think I know who you're talking
yeah,
about.
beautiful look to her. She was a good part of
Mm.
the late '80s up to the '90s. You know, wasn't a big Linda Murray fan back in the
Yeah, I
day.
like the Linda Murray. I
I
like that.
just
I
didn't,
like that.
Linda
You know
Murray.
who I like too? Gail Davis. I know she wasn't a bodybuilder, but she had that physique.
Yeah,
You know, I remember they had like Muscle and Fitness. They had the issue with the 1992 Summer Olympics athletes there, and she was there. She was in there.
yeah,
Yeah, I used to beat off on her pictures.
yeah.
Yeah.
You ever saw the movie with John Ritter, Skin Deep?
Skin Deep. Yeah, I know about that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That
I didn't
scene,
see it. I seen like clip like preview of it. But I
that
know time what's her name? Ray Hoyland is
Ray
in it.
Hoyt, yeah, when she was like
Yeah.
when she was getting naked, and that was the first time I got to see a female bodybuilder topless, naked.
Yeah.
That movie, because you did
Yeah. I might
they,
check that out. I
you know,
might check that.
yeah, there was some stuff out there, but I couldn't afford it because most time it was either on DVD or something like that or something. I couldn't afford it. But that movie was the only time. And then I even before I did an interview with Sue Price, we talked about it a little bit before the interview. He said, "George, please don't talk
Mm.
about this because she was the movie Nemesis and she had some nude scenes of it. I used to see Nemesis used to come on Cinemax. Um,
Yeah.
she had those nude scenes. And she's like, this was like a few years after she stopped competing, but she was still in great condition. You see her wet and half naked and, walking around,
Mm.
and even though she's no longer competing, she's still a beautiful woman. She just turned 61 like about a couple of weeks ago. It's just something about it. It's something different, and and this is where I go, people talk about how this guy saying that if you like women muscle, you are gay. I'm gonna say this. That's why I'm gonna have my little thing tomorrow. We'll talk about that for every man's gonna find something beautiful about the human body, and especially if it's a woman's body. Again, I worked the strip club. I worked around the girls with the fat asses and the huge titties. We had a couple girls that were kind of fit. They were attractive. It's about preference, like you said about preference. If you don't like it, my say like this: you don't have to talk about it. Why are you talking about it? Why are you stuck on it? Why do you need to say that? Because you have nothing else to talk about. Again, some of these women were like Bev Francis. Again, she was not a very beautiful woman, like if you compare it to Corey and a couple other ladies, but she had a beautiful physique, amazing body. I remember that last Olympia '91. She was just, and yes, like that routine. Yes, I was shooking the corn to it because she just looked amazing. It's that was if I see that, I knew I was gonna get a tip pole because Bev's body was just amazing. It was beautiful, and I would I wouldn't know. I wouldn't say I would tell you, yeah, Miss Francis. Yes, I used to beat the meat to your physique back day, but I wouldn't say it to her. But I think it's about preference. It's just men, and guys who want to shame us because we like that. That's your problem, not ours.
It is what it is, man. I look at it like that, with the women, you could say they beautiful and all that type of stuff, but it doesn't matter. They gotta like me too. So
The thing
that's
is,
how
like,
I feel.
well, if sometimes we like something, but it doesn't have. We just admire something. We just, they're not gonna come around and say, "Hey, I love you," but we just,
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm not saying it like that. I'm just saying that I don't want to be after something that doesn't feel the same way about me. That's my thing.
well,
I mean, so what if somebody is saying that, question you about, you liking women with muscles, but at the same time, because I've interacted with them, some of them, it ain't really a big deal. They gotta like you. You have to have a connection with some of them, you know. I ain't never like got it like that, but I've had a little experience with them. And I don't, because I see it the way how you know, the guys are, you know, with them, and it's almost like a zombie type of thing, you know, with it, you know, after a while, you know, want to be like that too. So that's my thing.
Here's the thing with us men, we're gonna, even though she may not like us, we're still gonna be attracted to her. It's just as men, we're regular women. There's women out there that even though she may not like you, you're still attracted to her because we're men. We
But
have
you're not gonna be hooked. Go ahead, guys. Say what you
we
gotta
have
say.
fantasies in our thoughts. If we accept the reality that we understand that we're not her cup of tea, that's just it. But you just can't say, you know what? We can't say even though she may not like me like that, I can't say I'm not attracted to her. But that's one thing you
But
gotta
I'm
realize.
not gonna focus on. I'm not gonna focus on something that I'm not that. If that the same person don't feel the same way that I am, because it's like a waste of time.
But thing is, with as human beings, we're going to find something attractive about something. You know, like it's just how our emotions are. And yes, we want more, but sometimes we're not going to get more. So we're just going to live with the idea that, okay, this is somebody that I have feelings for, but I understand. If you understand that, the feeling's not the same for her, you just accept that. But again, you're still going to have those underlying attractions to it or to that person. It's just something. It's sometimes hard, but if you don't go to a stream like you act like that's my girl. I know my Andrea thing because I think Andrea's person. I do that is mostly, but I do find she's a very attractive woman. And I do appreciate when some of the ladies who I interact with appreciate what I'm doing and let me know, hey, thank you for my support. I'm not looking for no more than that. I appreciate the support. If something happens, it happens. It don't, but if it does, hey, that's great. It's just the thing is sometimes it's hard when you see something that it's out of reach, but you're still just drawn to it. Is it physical, mental?
Maybe you need to look. Maybe not to cut you off. Maybe you need to kind of like explore other options in a way, like talk to other women.
Talk to other women. Like I say, it's not like I'm not just going to be exclusive to that person. I'm going to talk to other women and have conversations.
No, I'm just saying, like in a way of you just focusing on muscular women. That's what I'm saying.
I've talked to
female bodybuilders.
This is my wheelhouse where I work at, and I'm good at it. It's like my friend. I got a friend, my man Coach. He talked to women in MMA, and that's what he's good at. And
no, I'm saying like in a sense of what you said earlier. You're saying that you can like women, you can like them, but you can like them even if they don't like you. Like why would you be stuck on that? That's my thing is. That's what I'm trying to say.
Not being stuck is just that as a man, you're gonna like a woman. You're just gonna if even though if it doesn't no more than maybe just being cool with her, you're not, you're just gonna find something about something you like. It's the thing about mutual attraction, it has to be mutual. But again, as men, we're still going to look at a woman. And even though we may not, nothing comes out of it, we're still gonna look because every man is different when it comes to emotion, and especially when it comes to either to another man or another woman. You're gonna like what you're gonna like. And
I hear you.
Yeah, it's just something. We as human beings, that's what separates from animals. Animals do things out of nature. Human beings, we do things out of our free will.
All right. Well, let me see. This another picture. Hold on.
Exercises for biceps. The dumbbell curl, okay, like this, and easy bar curl. Easy bar curl. I remember you telling me recently that one of the things you like to do with your curls is bring your, kind of rotate your pinky out to really get the peak on it.
Yeah, you just twist it in and get that peak on that. There's that peak.
Do that again? Okay, it's a hammer, curl, and then twist it in, and that's for the peak. And so the whole movement should look like this. Now this is for guys or girls.
On the bicep, okay. Well, you would know because you had it down.
Well, this is some things about the 90s. That's what's her name? Denise Wasowski. Yeah. So that's like the 2026 version of her. Yeah, I heard she had like a mental illness or something like that, and I don't know. She got home. She was homeless at one point.
Yeah,
it's real tragic, and So.
Her sister started a GoFundMe about a year or so ago, and she lived on the streets. She now got herself a place. They got to get some help. She was phenomenal. 94. She was right behind Linda. She took second, then she disappeared because people thought if she came back next year, she probably could have beat Linda before Kim's Investigate did a couple of years later. I mean, she was just phenomenal. I mean, great. She was young, attractive, great muscle. I still remember that gold posing suit. I mean, it was just so.
I think I know who you're talking about. That's from Flex magazine.
Yeah. I think it was Muscle Development. That was she was the cover of.
Yeah, one of those. Yeah.
I still got them somewhere in my closet with my comic books and stuff. But she was amazing. And then she was doing some work with some kids in her neighborhood. She lived in the hood. She was working with black kids. Then I saw her. She was on a show called Mike and Maddie, where she was auditioning for American Gladiators. And after that, there was stuff here and there. Saw some pictures here and there. It was just. And then heard about her GoFundMe, and her sister started it, and now she got her in a place and got her some help. I mean, and that's the sad thing that I say that bodybuilding should help their athletes because she shouldn't have been this bad off. I mean, it's like but it happens. She had a great look to her. Muscles.
They don't care. They don't really care about them. Whether they compete or not. They just chew them up and spit them out.
Same thing like that. Any other sport you see, like like who was that guy who was playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers? That was I think he was probably messing with LeBron's mom, and he was homeless at one point. And,
the light skinned dude.
Yeah. Me in there. What happened? I mean,
Yeah.
Or was it Larry Holmes? Not Larry Holmes. One of Spinks brothers, Leon Spinks. He was driving buses. It's just sometimes people reach out to people and just take advantage of you after a while because you have money in a position, and and then you're spending like crazy. You gotta be smart. A lot of these guys who make this big money end up being broke. They're the smart ones. They leave with it to be smart with their money, but then the other ones they never had it before, so they don't know what to do with it. And just
I think one person that kind of like that I'm focusing on a little bit was Gilbert Arenas, because he retired the NBA when he was younger. When he was young, he wasn't old, and then I think he played for the Wizards. I wasn't following him like that, but I was watching. Watching an interview with him and Vlad, and like after basketball, he ain't know what to do with his life. That's another thing too. Like a lot of these players, they focus more on just playing sports, and then when they leave out of there, they just lost. They don't have no purpose
Like you
because
look
they
at
just
guys like
focusing on just dribbling the ball or catching the football.
yeah, like a lot of them. Like there were stories of guys in the NFL who didn't even know how to read because they were
Yeah, I
because
heard that.
yeah they were so
I've heard
good
that.
playing football that they just passed them in school. They didn't get an education. Then you're a
Mhm.
man in your 20s and 30s and don't know how to read. That's sad. And
Yeah,
because that's why they put in a thing now in NCAA, you have to at least do a year or more of college before they even draft you. That's remember LeBron James is the last person, him and somebody else were the last people to ever get drafted straight out of high school. They stopped that now. And,
yeah.
and you're not just getting passes in school. You have to read and educate yourself. And if you get managers, make sure it's somebody who's benefiting you, not benefiting themselves. I
But they
mean,
wasn't really doing that jump like that. Like I think like the person that did do it like was Moses Malone, Kevin Garnett, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James. There wasn't like that many that did it. I know there was some that they would like do like 2 years of college, and then go to the NBA stuff. So, yeah.
go overseas. Mhm. That thing is
But
that
overseas, overseas they just ain't make it to the NBA. They just
they recruit.
they,
They're having recruiting guys from overseas. They just don't. They don't get the big blast like some of the other guys do. Get out.
well, it depends. It depends. Like they could go to the NBA if they do good like in overseas. It depends though. At the same time,
In
yeah.
some cases, they can make more money overseas in the NBA because basketball is really getting popular in countries like Italy. That's why a lot of the women. That's why it started recruiting women from the WNBA from overseas because that's where
Yeah,
the world.
now they could do that.
Yeah.
Now they could
They were
do
doing that
that.
before. Not just now. They were doing it before when it started the WNBA. They were recruiting women. They were recruiting women from overseas because that's where they were mostly at. Because that's what those ladies were playing, making their money overseas in Italy and France. There were some ladies who even played because either their family they still had direct family in that country that played for a country on the Olympics because they had family from that part of the world still there. Like this one guy, he played hockey for I think Liberia, and because he still had cousins and an aunt back in that country. His grandfather left that country years ago, but there's a thing I found this out a long time ago. If you still have direct descendant, direct family in that country, you can play for that country.
I don't really follow women basketball like that, but I get what you're saying with the
I was just like I said again. I felt often I say I know you hate me saying this. I'm wearing smiles of all time, young Master Wayne.
If you don't like what I'm, if you don't like me, you say, if you know that, why keep saying that shit?
Because I love saying it.
Yeah, yeah.
But going back to subject, there were some amazing women in the 80s. I mean, some of them not as well known. Some of them are legends like Corey and Rachel and Carla and Anja and Bev. But there's some amazing women. I mean, like I said, in the muscle mags, and that's the sad thing that the muscle mags don't care much anymore. I mean, it used to be issue of flex and muscle fitness was about as thick as a Bible. Now,
Yeah, I used to get the flex magazines, especially like in the 90s. I think in the 2000s I stopped. I think like once in a while I would get them, and I think that's when what's her name Denise
Messina,
yeah, Messino, she had her magazine, and I got one of the issues.
I got two.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got one of the issues.
You can only get that through either you get a subscription or you get the back issues from L. Scott Sales.
No, I got from a newsstand. Like I'm in New York, so like a lot of those magazines, they were like in Manhattan. You had to get them in Manhattan. That's where they had them. Like Women's Physique World, they were like in these some newsstands where they had all the magazines. That's where they mostly had it.
Well,
That's where you got them.
I can get you used to get Women's Physique World at a bookstore. I remember one time a guy was on a school trip in Raleigh, went to the mall. I think it was B. Dalton's or Books of the Man. I can't remember. But it was with Linda Murray on the cover. And I remember I was buying
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I remember it was late spot. And I was like,
yeah, you done told that story so many times.
When it's true, it's easy to tell. You can't forget about it because I bought the book. Ladies are talking about
you got mentally scarred by that.
Not mentally scarred. It's just something I remember. It's just that.
That bothered you. It bothered you.
It bothers me because hey, I'm buying something I like, and if you feel comfortable, you don't say anything, keep your mouth fucking shut. The customer's buying something.
I mean, people gonna say stuff.
Yeah,
they talk shit, man. You can't. You can't really do anything about that. They going. I mean, there were women bodybuilders. Like they were women bodybuilders.
Would you say the same thing to some guy who buys Playboys? No, they won't. Especially if it's a grown man.
But you know how it is. They gonna look at it and they gonna be like. I remember there was this woman I was interviewing, and before she was competing, she would do the same thing. She would look at the muscle magazines and see the muscular women, and she'd be like, ugh. And then as time went on, she started working out. And yeah, I remember she was telling me that. I mean, it's something that people, it's kind of like aliens with two heads or something like that.
I think it's
at a certain point.
I think most people would run away from aliens and two heads and then look and go, ew,
I mean, you know what I'm saying. I mean, it's just different. That's it. It's not.
But that
thing is what it is.
That thing is, everybody's gonna have something different they like, and if it's not your preference, why waste the energy to talk about it? That's how I feel. Why waste the energy? Because I'm not gonna change what I like. So why you need to feel the need that you have to voice your opinion? You have your right to voice your opinion, but I don't care. I'm there buying a magazine of that I like to read, like to look. I look at the pictures. I read. You look at the pictures, and then I if something excites me, then if I'm by myself and I live in a small house with a lot of people, but if those times it was just late at night and just me in my room, and I did share a room. It's not even a bed with somebody, but then I got a little older, I had my own bed. But I still share a room. But we did what we did. And but here's the thing is that the 80s for a lot of guys, it was a time of amazing muscle, beautiful women, just certain looks to it. And then it kept evolving over time to what we have now. We can never go back, no matter how much I hear people talking about how things were back then. But the thing is, you can never go back. Training and things have changed, the women have changed and evolved. It's good to remember it, but that's what it is, to remember what it was. We're not going to ever see another Corey Everson or another Rich McLeish or another Linda Murray. Women now are not going to be able to go back to that because they're now at another level.
They're taking certain things to enhance themselves, right?
So those women were taking certain things too. But
But is it worse now? I'm gonna show you a clip or something. I'm gonna check this out.
Mandatory drug testing, one of which was Juliette Bergman, a past champion. She was the 1986 world champion.
In the sport of bodybuilding, we test for a series of different drugs that are banned. Those are anabolic steroids, anti-estrogens, diuretics, and probenecid, which is considered a blocking agent. When the athlete is found to have these drugs in their system, they are disqualified. At this particular world championship, 2 out of the 27 athletes were disqualified for anabolic steroids.
The Europeans are, I'd say, trying to head into a much more muscular
position than us. Plus, we are really, it seems like it's always the Americans who try to stick to the drug-free, and then we pay for it. Look at our men. Our amateur championships have dropped back because we're trying to fit in and to do what we're supposed to do with the drug testing. Then you get over to the European Opens and stuff like that, and you get sat on your butt.
Like it goes back to certain countries and certain rules. You know, America wants to use idea that natural, but now because they look at how the Europeans were going, and then other competitors, like I remember one lady, Krista Bach, she got disqualified. She was taking stuff, but after a while, you know, you wouldn't disqualify. Those guys were taking more stuff than the women were because the women saw, okay, the guys were taking it. Why can't we take it? Because you're women. They say you're women, you can't take this stuff. But the thing is, they're getting bigger muscles. It's always going to be a double standard when it comes to men and women when it comes to use of performance enhancers.
I mean, I'm not a bodybuilder. I just, you know, I don't really have no opinion on it. That's all.
The thing is, when you do content like this, you have to be aware of what you're involved with, because you're gonna sometimes they're gonna ask you questions of what your thoughts or your opinions of it.
But I don't have no opinion on it. I'm not in that world. I'm not. I just
you
don't.
Are. That's where you get started there.
I'm not in that world, bro. I'm not. I'm not.
You may not be a
competitor. I'm not in that world. I don't have an opinion on it.
You are doing content on this stuff. And
I just showcase women with muscles. That's all I do. And a lot of them don't. And a lot of times, they're natural bodybuilders too. I talk to natural bodybuilders now a little bit more than these IFBB broads.
But here's this: don't they ask your opinion on some things, or they want to know something and get your information on it?
No. Like I'll be truthful. I'm not in that world. I'm not. I tell them like I'm more of a spectator of it. I've been to a couple of shows. I could imagine if I didn't go to a show, I'd be really worse off. But you know, I'm not. I don't know that. I probably can read about it. Like I could probably like do more research on it. That's all I could do.
Yeah.
But I can't like have. I don't know what to like. I don't know what that's like, you know, like being on stage or anything like that. I just asked them that because I'm curious.
Yeah,
you know that, and it's really is just something to say. Ask.
Yeah, but with me, I've been doing this for quite a while now, and with me, I have to like when I do my interviews, I want to know. I want to be knowledgeable. I just don't want to be like with my interviews, I just don't want to be just one-sided. You know this, and I just do it like, hey, I want to know what, like, this is a subject I'm talking about. I want to know what I'm talking about with my subjects. Like, that's why, you know, you get to a point where I'm not saying that I'm not a bodybuilder, like I said that, but I'm getting knowledge from the sport, from when I do interactions, when I talk to ladies. You know, some ladies, like I said, they ask me some stuff. Sometimes I joke with them, like, they send me pictures of progress pictures. I say, how dare you see me? I know I must pair small, but because I understand some of the aesthetics and the routines of the sport.
But it's the difference, like with me and you, we're like, I don't have that. I don't really be like, you know, having women send me pictures and all that type of stuff like that. I just like speak to them. I'm curious. Hey, would you like to chat with me on my YouTube channel? And they say yeah. And if there's things I know, you know, I'll discuss with them. If there's things I don't know, like I said, you know, I could try to redo research a bit. Like the other day, I was like researching on estrogen, just trying to understand that. You know, it's a hormone thing, and you know, something like that. I probably got to research it again. But you know, I just try to understand what some things.
Yeah, that's
you know
that comes in because sometimes they might want to get your feedback on something. They want to maybe wonder what your thoughts, because They're in a world where they're around people who are so much entrenched in the sport, and they sometimes want to get it for somebody who's not a bodybuilder. Now there are those that they'll still get to they look at us as outsiders, but when you understand what's involved in their sport, you don't have to be an expert, but you do have to, if you understand the critiques, the growth, the process, and it does
Yeah, I
help.
mean, I try to understand it, but it's just a certain point. I'm just not in it. I'm not really there like that. I mean, the least I could do,
Because I'm
you
not
know,
in it.
I'll look, I'm trying to explain. That's my experience. Like I can't I can't tell you I can't I'm not force feeding myself with it. I'm just letting you know there's
Nobody.
things that I can't. I mean, I don't have an opinion on it. I just don't.
Well, that's the thing is sometimes you have when you get this, you have to really understand. And that's all that really matters. If you understand enough of it, that you know the aspects of it, it's gonna be hard, And like I said, I'm not saying you should be like me. I'm just the type of person that I'm curious. I want to learn. I want to know. I have this mind of I can absorb things. When I'm getting information, I can absorb it and I can learn from it. And I can use it. Some people have that skill set. Not everybody. Some people do. That's something that I have skill for because I've been doing interviews for a long time, and
Yeah, I
again,
mean, you've been doing it, but I mean, a lot of them they talk to you
yeah,
for
because
whatever reason they do. I,
yeah,
I'm not. I haven't really reached that amount of people to talk to like that. Sometimes I talk to people outside of women bodybuilding. I mean, I don't. I mean, the other night I was talking to a dude that made a comic book. He doesn't draw. He writes comics,
see,
and I could relate to I
because
could
that's
relate
something
to
I
it
need
because
to.
I tried to write my own comic and I try to create a comic book a
Yeah,
bit. So I have that understanding. But with this, you just looking at the women and it's like, wow, you're a bit mesmerized, but in some ways you are curious. Really, really, I wanted to I started doing the interview and stuff. It was because of you, but also because I wanted to like in a way expand my content a bit. Like I didn't want to just like showcase, you know, muscular women all the fucking time and shit like that.
yeah.
Like I wanted to like change up, but it doesn't it's not like a big impact on me interviewing them. But at the same time, like I try to understand these women, like why they do what they do, you know.
Me,
I mean, it's not even really it's not really easy to like understand what they do because you're just not in it. You're just not,
for me, this
like
thing I found, especially, and I go back to when I was taking my mom because I was a fan of women's bodybuilding, and I needed something for outlet. And this is what I found. And then, like I said again, when mom was gone, I didn't have anything else. Like I said, don't have no kids. I don't have a girlfriend. I do have my family, but they got their lives. And I found this something to as a purpose for myself. In life, every man try to find something as a purpose. And I've done interviews with ladies outside of bodybuilding, ladies in MMA, bare knuckle. It's hard to get with them because you have to go to talk to a manager and yada 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 yada, and you try
it's
something.
not the same thing. But I understand what you're saying.
And then with the bodybuilders, if you just talk to them like any person, say, my name is George. I got a channel. You want to come on and talk? And, some will say yes, some might say no. Some would just, I've got 2 interviews on Tuesday. One lady, she's 77 years old. She survived blood cancer and she's doing bodybuilding. She's one of Gina Cavaro's clients. I'm interviewing Nikki Treadwell again, because, we want to talk about what her plans now. She's IB Pro. I got a couple interviews coming up by next week or end of the month. I just reach out and say, hey, what you doing? You want to talk about something? You want to. It's just it gives again. This is what gives me a purpose. And again, it goes back to I've interviewed other people before, But this is something I really got a hang of. When you get to a point where you know what, this is what I do well, better than others. Again, I would love I reach out to ladies in wrestling, but they don't respond because most of the time they're tour or training. With the MMA fighters, sometimes or the boxers, they have managers and stuff. And you have to, you can get a few every now and then. Don't have a manager, they won't have a problem coming on. I still try to get in contact with some of them, not as much like I used to, but it's just finding something that really gives you a purpose, that you found your niche. And like I said, you do other stuff too. I've seen the other stuff, the guys with the comic book guys. That's what you're good at. You know about that. And this is what for me is something I know. But you're still growing as a content maker on this subject, and you're still learning, you're still adapting, and you're still understanding. You're not going to completely understand it, but again, once you get more into it, and you realize, you know what, this is something I can really sink my teeth into.
I'll play another video.
Bodybuilding hasn't really affected my relationship with men. Being a career athlete has. You don't have the time. You make sacrifices. You make a lot of sacrifices. I can't remember any time in my life that I've been without some sort of competition or some aspect of sport.
Yeah, I mean, it's different, like imagine you meeting a woman like this, and she takes you into her world, and you don't do what she do. So I mean, it's not always easy. I mean, you could try to understand it, but there's people that they really try, they really ain't trying to hear it. But it depends on the individual.
Yeah.
If they want to understand it.
And like I said, there's quite a few plenty of women who have interviews whose husbands, they're not bodybuilders. They are regular guys, but they support and they love their wives, their girlfriends, or their significant others, there's quite a few who are like good examples, Keith and Tina. They're both bodybuilders and they have kids and they raise a family. Some ladies, I think Helen Trevino said it sometimes in an interview that she regret not having the opportunity to settle down and have children. That's what she missed out on. Irene Anderson, she has a couple of kids. And she had that opportunity. Kim Javesti, after she stepped away from bodybuilding, she had her 2 sons. Some women, they really missed the opportunity just to be a woman. Like Corey Everson, she, after her first husband, they had divorced, and she married her second husband. She adopted and got a couple of kids. I mean, everybody wants to live that life and find that person to share it with. Especially these women are no different. Quite a few ladies who have interviewed have that. They have their kids, their husband, or they're just single moms, or they're in a relationship with somebody, and I think one lady said that she's happy that she has a dog. She's not looking for no kids. And that's nice. That's what you want. And you got to find a person who wants to be comfortable with it. And if you're a man who's coupled with your wife and your girlfriend, or you're a woman who's coupled with your boyfriend or your girlfriend, being a bodybuilder, that's good. If you're in that sport, that's good. That's great also. It can be kind of hectic, especially if you're prepping together. But if one's into one and the other one's just there to support you, that's great. But we both have talked to ladies who told me that they got divorced because they didn't like their wives becoming a bodybuilder, because that's tough. But then later on, they found somebody else that loved them for them, and they shared the same passion, or they just supported their passion.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you said a mouthful, so I mean, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I mean, it ain't really so much we could do. I mean, I wanted to do the '90s next week, but we'll see. Yeah, like I said, I wanted to just explore the '80s a bit. Just I know I didn't cover everybody, but I did what I can do, and appreciate you hopping on,
Yeah, no problem.
and
One
you
we
can.
always say was one of the greatest women from that era outside of Corey Everson was Kay Baxter.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we talked to I mean, I wasn't sweating the K Baxter thing because we talked to somebody that worked with K Baxter. Yeah,
Oh,
and
him.
then you talked with that musician from Van Halen.
Yeah.
Yeah, David Duvall, and I mean, yeah. So yeah, she I was a little bit distracted with other things, so I didn't really get to her. But yeah, so.
Well, with the
I mean,
90s,
I did what I can do. That's all. I mean, I try to get some clips, references with the '80s. I didn't really, I said it earlier. I didn't like pay attention to women's bodybuilding until the early '90s.
yeah, because that's
So
that's where I think a lot of people really got into it, because in the 80s was still kind of fresh and new. I think it really didn't start picking up till like about late 80s up to the mid 90s, and then everything started changing around a bit. Back in the day, remember, the Olympia used to have sometimes 30 women competing, and now
the what? What you
barely.
said? I didn't get that last part.
Well, it used to be back in the day when they did Olympia for women's bodybuilding, you had at least 30 women competing. Now you just barely have 10.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That was in the '80s and stuff. Yeah.
80s
Yeah,
up to the
I
90s.
mean, you just wanted to you just wanted to kind of like I did it because just to explore, like you even asked me about what my opinion on the thing, and it's just more of an exploration of it because you know, yeah, because I I because you don't really know the history, so so that's why I did it. I mean, people can also like do research or look at these videos. I'm gonna post this person's YouTube channel where you can catch these but most of the stuff that I clicked. So, but yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up. I mean, I know you made your announcement tomorrow. You're gonna have a muscle talk Monday. Are you gonna have any women bodybuilders in there or?
Like I said, one thing is it's this season is prepping season. I reach out sometimes. Some ladies are busy. Yeah, it's just that's the hard part about it. I posted on my IG. Maybe I might get some that might
Right.
reach out maybe later
If
on.
they come, they come.
Yeah, they're coming. That's all it. But I am got something coming up next Monday. I got something, and I do have my Sunday roundtable discussion. I wasn't go this way, but then a couple people will be out of town. But I do have something coming up for that last Monday. I mean, that last Sunday. So yeah, if you got to make sure that they're still on. If they're interested in being part of it, then it's good. If not, then I'll just say, you know what, maybe just skip a Sunday.
All right. All right. Well, people can stay tuned to All the Rage George page. Yeah, I appreciate people hanging on to our topic. Thanks for people that was on the chat. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up. Maybe I might do a 90s version to it next week, or if not next week, some other time. We'll see, we'll see. But I'm gonna wrap it up, and yeah. So peace out.
Good night.